Parlays and player props for week 11 in the NFL. Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Austin from Calling Our Shot. We're going to get back after. We got 4 player props and a money line parlay coming your way. Now, the money line parlay, truthfully, it's kind of struggled the past couple of weeks. There's been tons of upsets in the NFL, so we're going to try to play it a little conservative. But for the player props, we've been killing it the last 2 weeks. We were 7-1 the last 2 weeks. Let's see if we can keep that streak up. And we got another 4 player props coming your way. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Maybe consider clicking a like button too if you enjoy the videos. We appreciate it. It only takes a couple of seconds out of your day. And if you want to know the spreads and over-unders and other 2 more player props, we got another separate video. It'll be linked in the description and the pinned comment down below. So check it out. Let's start it off with the player prop. We're going to go with Christian McCaffrey, over 45.5 receiving yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see this line increase. If it goes, I'd like it all the way up to about 49.5. Now, we took this line last week. It was 39.5 receiving yards, cash money. You never even had to sweat it. Christian McCaffrey, this is what he does. He had 10 receptions, 66 receiving yards. He's a beast, and McCaffrey has hit this over in 5 of 6 games this season that he's played in. The one game that he missed, he got injured in the first quarter, I believe the early second quarter against the Texans on Thursday Night Football. Every other game, he's hit this easily. Now, the Panthers' offense, they'll be turning to Cam Newton. The old Carolina quarterback is back in Carolina. This is his first game back in Charlotte in front of the hometown crowd. They'll be fired up. Now, Cam Newton, he doesn't know necessarily this offensive scheme, a much different one than Ron Rivera ran, which Ron Rivera coming back to Charlotte to take on the Panthers, but he does have a good rapport with Christian McCaffrey. Now, you got to think about it. Cam Newton, he was the QB for Christian McCaffrey his first 2 seasons, technically his first 3, but he was injured the whole third one. But the first 2 seasons when McCaffrey had 80 receptions and 107 receptions respectively, Cam not afraid to dump off the ball, and he has a good connection with CMC. Wouldn't be surprised to see them force feed a lot of passes. You look at the Washington football team, pretty decent defense in terms of against the run, but they can be susceptible to passing, and I think Christian McCaffrey will get it done. Also, last note, McCaffrey, since his return the last 2 weeks, he's only played 49 and then 59% of the snaps. I think they're ready to give him a full workload, maybe 70% of the snaps this weekend. Now, let's move on to another player prop, Nick Chubb. We're taking his over 83.5 rushing yards. Currently minus 114 on Barstool. Now, Nick Chubb, he's back this week. He was out last week due to being on the health and safety protocols list. But Chubb, he's been a beast this year, and he's one of the best pure runners in the NFL. Now, he's averaging 103 yards per game in the 7 games he has played so far this season. And over the past 2 seasons, so not including this season, the last 2, he's averaged 89.9 rushing yards per game and 93.4. So he's easily a guy that can get it done. He's cashed this over in 5 of 7 games so far this season. And if you take out week 1 when he ended with 83 yards, he's cashed with 5 of the last 6. Now, the Browns, they were embarrassed last weekend. They were absolutely, I don't even know, they basically played like they had a bye week against the Patriots, getting absolutely blown out, blitzed the whole shebang. And I think they come out, set the tone early this week. Chubb, he's got to set the tone against the Lions team that, to be honest, not very good against the run. They're currently they're giving up the 3rd most rushing yards per game at over 135 per game. And when they face teams that give the large majority of their workload to one back, here's what has resulted. Najee Harris, 105 yards last week. Joe Mixon, 94, 113 to Alexander Madison, 106 to David Montgomery, 104 to Elijah Mitchell. The only other teams that really haven't hit this over are teams that split the workload. Now, the Eagles absolutely smashed it if you combined all of their guys, but they had Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell all having a field day on them. But the only really one true workhorse, and he's not even a workhorse back, Darrell Henderson did not have a great game. But you remember that Rams versus Lions game. A weird one. Browns, their offensive line, defensive line were embarrassed last week. They'll be out to prove something today. And we think we see a Nick Chubb with a big workload. Not worried about D'Ernest Johnson behind him. Let's lock in Nick Chubb over 83.5 rushing yards. Now moving on to 2 more player props. Brandon Cooks, we're taking his over 5.5 receptions plus 100 on Caesars. You'll love the plus or really even money on this one. And I think it should be a little bit more juice, maybe minus 120, minus 125. I think we should see that creep up as Sunday kind of comes around, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Now Cooks, he's basically all the Texans all that the Texans got on the offensive side of the ball. It's basically him, and then the rest of the receivers are either young or who really knows? You probably don't know any of their names. And truthfully, I don't know a lot of their names either. But Brandon Cooks, in his 3 games so far this season with Tyrod Taylor, who will again start today, he's seen 7, 14, and 14 targets, hauling in 5, 9, and 6 receptions. So cash it in 2 of 3 games with Tyrod Taylor, and he's seeing 14 plus targets in 2 of the 3, 14 plus last week. And now the Titans, truthfully, not a matchup that necessarily scares me. They're 10. Now you look at the Texans; they're 10.5 point underdog. So could game script play in our favor? Awesome. I'm not going to count on it. Count on the Texans to be down in this game, but still, the Titans have allowed at least one receiver to have 6+ receptions in basically every single game this season. The only one The only game that they didn't allow a receiver to have 6+ receptions was against the Saints last week, which the Saints, they don't complete any passes. They've completed the second fewest passes in the NFL and could probably have the lowest amount of completions to wide receivers. So through 10 games this season, Titans have allowed 12 receivers to hit this over and 6+ receptions, and they've allowed another 6 to have 5+ receptions. There's plenty of proof Cooks can get it done. He's all the Texans got. And in 2 games against the Titans last year, he had 9 and 11 receptions in both of them. I think we'll see another 10, 12, 14 targets again this weekend, and he should be able to haul in at least 6 of them, whether they're screen passes, long passes, you name it. Brandon Cooks for riding his over 5.5 receptions for plus 100 value. Love it. Now moving on to my last one of the day, Josh Jacobs, over 2.5 receptions, minus 145 on DraftKings. This one slowly keeps creeping up. It was minus 130, now minus 145. Wouldn't be surprised to see it more juiced. I don't mind it at 3.5 if you get it for like plus 130 value. Then you got a good chance. But Jacobs is the running back for the Raiders, and he's cleared this line in 5 of his past 6 games, including the last 2 when he returned from injury, and he's seen 4 and 5 receptions in both of them. Now, today, he takes on the Cincinnati Bengals. They're at home again in Las Vegas, and they've kind of struggled against opposing running backs and coming out of the backfield. Now, a couple weeks ago, they gave up 2 receptions because they were on a bye last week. A couple weeks ago, they gave up 2 receptions to Nick Chubb, who doesn't even receive the ball all too much. I mean, we're taking his rushing prop today, but he only has 8 receptions on the year. Yeah, he got 2 against the Bengals. But prior to that, they gave up 9 to Michael Carter and 5 to his backup, Ty Johnson, another 3 to Devontae Freeman, 5 to DeAndre Swift, 4 apiece to A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, 14 to Najee Harris, 3 to David Montgomery, 6 to Dalvin Cook. You see the trend. And Josh Jacobs is seeing a 15% target share. The Raiders don't have a lot of weapons really to use. They got Waller, they got Renfro, you could say Bryan Edwards and whatnot, but still, I think they'll be dumping it off to Josh Jacobs plenty. And it wouldn't surprise me to see Jacobs again get several more dump offs this weekend. Just sitting out in the flat, just chilling. This is a pretty good prop, minus 145. It is juiced, but I love it a lot, and you can take it probably up to minus 160. If it's more than that, maybe would hold off on it, maybe 3.5 with like a half unit play, but I like it. Now let's get into the money line parlay. We're going to go conservative here, as the last couple weeks have been very uncertain. You've got so many upsets, but we're going with 3 legs. Bills, 49ers, and Browns, plus 104. Now I understand, not plus 5,000 odds, and you could probably crank out one like that this weekend, but there's so many 1.5, 2.5, 3-point spreads that really it's going to be hard to kind of get all of those games right, especially with how crazy the NFL has been recently. But the Bills, let's start with them. They're taking on the Colts, and truthfully, I do like the Colts. I think they're a better team than their record says, but this game will be in Buffalo, and if you're betting on the Colts, you're counting on Carson Wentz to play well, which is always a question mark. That's also against the Buffalo Bills, one of the best defenses in the league. They've been dominant all year long. They've been confusing quarterbacks left and right. So I'll ride with the home team, the Buffalo Bills, in this one. Don't know if they'll cover it, but I think they get the win. Now moving on to the 49ers. They're in Jacksonville. They're coming off a big win against the Rams on Monday Night Football. So this could be a letdown spot, as the Jags are playing better the past couple weeks. As you know, they hung around against the Colts last week to beat the Bills outright in Jacksonville 2 weeks ago. But still, I do think the 49ers with their run game, despite no Elijah Mitchell probably today or on Sunday, still do think that, Jeff Wilson Jr., Trey Sermon, all those guys can get it done. I'll ride with that team. Their defense is finally getting, kind of figuring it out. And I'll ride with the 49ers money line in that one. They're 6.5-point favorites. The last leg, the Browns. Now, if you watch my Week 11 full best bets video, which will be linked at the end of the video in about a minute, but you'll see I like their spread too. But they're taking on the Lions, and you can't lose to the Lions. Let's be honest, you can't. Your season's over if you lose to the Lions. You'll be shamed on every social media, and I don't think they will. They're going to show up in a big way. Jared Goff, I believe, is out for this game if he isn't already. And if he goes out there banged up, even better. But still, you just can't lose to this Lions team. They're going to ride Nick Chubb into the ground like we took his over rushing yards. All 3 of these guys, I love the Browns. They should be able to get it done. They're also at home. Now, all 3 plus 104, like I said, it's a bankroll builder. I'm hoping we can kind of keep chugging along these wins, because we need to get back in the win column for the money line parlay. But that'll do it. Check out my full Week 11 best bets video on the screen. Includes 2 more player props, 2 more spreads, and 2 over-unders that I like. Let's have a great Week 11. Let's make some money this Sunday, and let's have some fun watching some football. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.